The human spirit was designed to endure and overcome. It has so much power, such that when it has overcome, it can hold memory of its experiences and yet be fully present to enjoy the current joys and victories that life presents to it. I believe that if we know more about each other, we can learn more and be gracious to each other. The concepts that you hold about life are not necessarily true. They're limited to your exposure. The day you get comprehension of this, you'll be more kind, patient, and deal with people more graciously. I welcome you to a place of grace, the Knowledge Hub edition.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Knowledge Hub. Today I've got my fabulous cousin, Hulisani Ravele, a seasoned broadcaster. She hosts the Weekend Breakfast Show on 947. Welcome!
You see, the gift of talking clearly runs in the family.
You know, I mean, when I sent you a WhatsApp, I'm like, yeah, can you please come on my show? Like, yeah, cuz. I'm like, this girl, she does not even look at how
No, what does the good word say? Do not despise small beginnings.
Yes.
And for me, what inspires me about a platform like this and about what you're doing is that you're starting. Yes. You're starting where you are with what you have. And one day you'll look back on this journey and be like, do you remember where we started?
Talking about where we started, I was looking at the videos. The first video was shot in my friend's garden. But look at us today, we're in studio.
You're starting.
Small little steps that are making a difference.
Exactly.
You know, when I see that you've got so many years in the broadcasting field, in my field, if you've got over 20 years experience, you're probably the MD of the organization or you're sitting on boards. What have been some of the key lessons that you've learned in your journey? Because, it's been a while.
Man, 24 years in the game. I think the biggest lesson has really been about finding self.
True.
And understanding who you are. You know, I'm in an industry where everybody has an opinion about you. Everybody has an opinion about your life, who you're dating, what your weight looks like, all these many things, you know, how you look, where you are, so many things. And if you don't understand self and you don't really intentionally go on that journey of discovering, of learning and unlearning who you really are, you're going to get swallowed up in this industry. And you're also going to start living a life according to other people.
Yes, true.
And I like to call it keeping up with the Kumalos, where
it's the
you know,
Kumalos.
instead of the Kardashians, right? We must localize it. You get yourself in a space where you're trying to keep up with the Kumalos and you lose your way. You lose what it is that you really want to do, what your purpose is, because you're just trying to be like everybody else and trying to be something that somebody says you should be.
Because what I notice is that in my field, because I'm in engineering, it's normal corporate world, there is room for me to fail without the world realizing.
Yes.
How do you deal with failure in a platform that you hold?
Sure, it's hard because like you said, everybody's always watching 24/7, right? But I think the most important lesson for me has been allowing myself to remember that I'm human at the end of the day. Yes. And the fact that cameras are on me 24/7 or a journalist is always watching the move, if my intention was not to truly harm someone or, you know, be some type of way, then I'm fallible. I'm allowed to make mistakes. And I do a lot of self-work. So I go to therapy, I pray a lot, I meditate, I do all the things that I need that make me whole and fill me up because I'm in such a business that demands so much of me all the time.
Talking about that kind of business, how easy is it to establish genuine friendships when you are in this industry?
It's tricky. It's very tricky, and I think that's why I don't have a lot of famous friends.
Do you have? You have Kitu. I don't even know who else.
Everybody knows my best friend Kitu Betsi. I don't have a lot of famous friends, and I think that's partly part of the reason. You know, I believe there's this thing of it's difficult to be friends with someone who wants exactly what you want.
It is.
Because at some point, we're going to be going to the same auditions. Exactly. We're going to be going to the same auditions, the same things. And if I get it and you don't, of course, there's a part of you that's joyful
and especially
for me.
if you keep getting and the other one is not getting. It's just bound to build animosity and stuff. Yes.
Eventually, there will be a part of you that's very joyful for me, but there's going to be a part of you that is allowed to be sad, that is allowed to be disappointed. And like you said, once it starts happening omunye phezu komunye, you know, and it's one after the other, resentment starts to form some extent. So
how do the comments that we give on social media, I mean, we just say whatever we want.
When you want, how you want to.
We don't even care how you feel.
Yeah.
How do you read and still be able to distance yourself from what we are saying?
I love, first of all, taking social media fasts. That is one of the things that really helps me to just be able to step away. And again, like I said, refill myself from the inside out, so that by the moment I come back onto social media, I'm able to take mean comments that are constructive as, okay, this is constructive criticism. Like, for instance, the other day somebody said, you know, when you're a 947, you must give other presenters a chance to speak. And I was able to respond and say, first of all, there's a difference between a co-host and an anchor. And you need to understand what my role is in that particular show.
True.
If I've been called to co-host, if I've been called to anchor that.
Yes.
And you see a comment like that, I'm able to, you know,
it's
sort it out fast.
It's not that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Remember, we don't know what's happening in the industry.
Yeah.
Whatever just comes to mind, we put it out there. Whether it hurts you
Or not, you don't care.
We don't know. We don't give a hoot.
So when it's like I said, if it's a thing that is talking about my work, I'm able to immediately respond from the manner that is, you know, objective. But once you start coming at me
personal.
when it's personal and things like that, I know that hurt people.
True,
so,
they do.
And I need to be empathetic about understanding that you're coming from a lower vibration than I'm at.
True.
And unfortunately, when I look at a comment like that, I pity you, if anything.
Because you're the one that needs healing.
Is your life so bad that all you can do is type something and hope that it arrives at me and that it affects me in some way? One of my favorite features on social media is not even blocking people that come with negativity out of nowhere and all the time. It's muting. Because muting, it's like you've posted, but I didn't see it. So it's almost like somebody screaming at you.
The way my account's so quiet, I've never even pressed that.
But it's like somebody going to the window and saying, hey, Hulisani, Hulisani. And you are shouting and I'm just walking by and I'm just whistling down. So those are some of the ways that I have found to deal with it. And again, understanding that I'm in a business that people will have an opinion. But your opinion of me doesn't have to be my truth.
It doesn't have to.
Not at all.
I know that you're very big on purpose, impact, and
power. Yeah.
Those are your three things. Do you think that we all have a purpose?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why are we so confused?
We're confused because the impact of my purpose doesn't look like yours. So what I mean by that is, we think that because you're not on TV, because you're not on radio, because you're not out there speaking to hundreds and thousands of people, it doesn't matter. And purpose and impact and harnessing that power of your purpose happens in the workspace. It happens in your home. It happens in your family relationships. It happens everywhere you go.
It's not this big thing.
It's not this big thing, but because you're not at the big thing, you think that you can't have impact.
Is it because probably we lack presence? Like we're forever thinking about the future, thinking about the next big thing that we can do, not being fully present at this moment and seeing what it is that we're doing or what we can do where we are?
I don't think it's so much about presence. I think there is a place for that, but it's more about competition.
Okay.
It's more about feeling that somebody else's joy, somebody else's victory, somebody else's success should be yours. Are we all worthy of success? Yes, we are. But it's going to look different for both of us. It's going to look different in how we attain it, how we go for it. And I think because so many of us are at a level of competing and not at a level of understanding that there is abundance. And in that abundance, it means that there is enough for all of us. It means that, Mavhungu, you can have a talk show and I can have a talk show.
No.
We're not going to be on at the same time. Like, there's no way I can be on every single channel at the same time.
The same thing at the same time. There's so much room for everybody.
Exactly. So I think that's what it is. It's not understanding that there are things that just have your name on them. And if you're focused on that, you truly find your purpose. You're too busy comparing yourself to others.
But don't you think the people yourselves that are in the industry, you are increasing on this lack of self-knowledge or understanding because of the postings that you guys do? I mean, you're always up there. We don't see the progression on how it came about. Your things are too out of reach. So it makes one feel a little bit inadequate. So what is the role that you guys play in confusing everybody else?
Hey, you know when you paint others as you guys, I'm just like, not me. I'm very honest. I'm very authentic about what I have because I'm really not shy to share those stories. I think the one of the most important things to remember when you have a platform is that you have a responsibility. It's almost like how they say with every right in the Constitution, there's a responsibility that comes with it, right? You have the right to freedom of speech, but you have the responsibility to respect that of others. And to not infringe upon that. And it's the same with us as well, that yes, I'm sharing my life, but I'm very selective about how I share my life and what I share. And I try at least to be the kind of person to say, you know what, guys, I still drive my first car.
Can you be practical? You guys show us, people show such a big achievement, and then they look so out of reach or unattainable for a person that is starting without explaining the journey that they went through. So when a person is starting, they probably think, maybe I can't get there. So I honestly think that what people are sharing on social media, sometimes it's too unreal, and it's too unreal.
Look, it's important for people to also remember that I don't owe you anything.
You don't.
It sounds very mean, but nobody owes you anything. You have to choose. There's a saying that I love to live by that says, there's a fine line between inspiration and envy. So when I'm posting this car, this house, traveling, whatnot, it is your choice to choose if you're going to be inspired by it or if you're going to be envious of it. And I fall in the same bracket when I see other famous people and I'm just like, yeah, I have not even flown first class in my life. But you know what? I'm just like, but I'm inspired by that. I will work hard. So the responsibility remains with you. Yes, media as a platform has the ability to influence, and that is exactly what it's doing right now. And not everybody is doing it responsibly. But again, they don't owe you the responsibility to do so. They don't. They really don't. To them, it's a yay.
And anyways, I'm after my own bag.
I'm after my own bag, and this is what I'm doing. And I guess the sad reality as well is that because I'm in the industry, I almost have inside knowledge of who's really doing it, who's really doing well, who's paying for what, who's doing what, right?
Yeah, because
you don't have.
When we are consuming, we just think everything is owned by Hulisani.
Exactly. And so I guess that's why you also have guidelines now from social media platforms that are saying that you have to show that something is a sponsored post. You have to say this is an ad. I mean, let me tell you, when I fly business class, it is because I am usually going with a client who has coveted or it is a sponsorship, and I'm not afraid to share that. Like, I remember the first time I flew business overseas and I was like, yay, Nina, ganti abantu baphila kanje on the other side, and it was
like, not to pretend as though this is the kind of life that I live every day, all day.
But Mavhungu, even if it is, it goes back to that thing of I don't owe you an explanation. Nobody does. Nobody does.
So, but when people see you, I mean, you're very successful. How does one tap into their essence to establish their own success so that they can find themselves as well floating and being spoken about in different rooms?
I think it's important to understand why you want to do what you want to do. I'll speak about the industry that I'm in. I started when I was 9 years old. So there's an innocence almost that you cannot take away from the fact that when I started, I was literally just a kid who just the papera. I was forward and I was outspoken and I was lively and bubbly, and that's how I found myself in this industry. Whereas somebody who joins perhaps in their late 20s or whatnot, understand why do you want to do this? Do you want to do it for the fame? Do you want to do it so that you have the most likes? What is your why? And that goes for any business.
And it's very true because, when you don't know the why, when the external response is not what you anticipated, or if it was what was driving the why, you will have a problem.
And it's going to be so easy to quit. It's going to be so easy to be ridiculed. It's going to be so easy to be controlled by external factors because internally you haven't settled what it is for you. And if your reasoning is because I want to be better than Mavhungu, because I want to, it's never gonna work out. Let me tell you, if anything, the universe is gonna go blessing the other person even more, which is gonna frustrate you even more because your why hinges on somebody else as opposed to you forging your own journey.
Exactly. Have you found your purpose?
I have.
What is that?
Oh, I absolutely have. My purpose is, as a broadcaster, to use the platform that I have with power and with impact to positively change people's lives. When I was younger, I'd say, I stumbled into television and I just happened to be good at it. And after losing my dad, I realized what I was placed here to do. I am here to use the platforms that I have to speak on my own journey, speak on my experiences. I'm here to be a conduit for other people's conversations because I'm good at that. I'm good at sitting and having a conversation with someone, and it feels like no matter who you are, it's like, it's like two friends have just sat here and had this conversation. And the conversations that we have are then for others to consume, to take the lessons that they want to take and to implement them into their own lives. That's what I'm here to do.
Because you just said that your father's passing away, it was a turning point.
It was a turning point, yeah.
What was it about that changed everything from your about your perspective?
It was how he died. You know, so my dad died under a car. He was fixing a car. Yes. And on any given day, that is what my dad was doing. You know, he was your uncle, you know. On any given day, that's what he was doing, you know. And I remember in the pain of the loss and everything and the grief, there was just this moment that said to me, but this guy died doing what he loved.
He was happy. He was happy.
He died doing what he loved. And that was the lesson that I took from there. And the question to myself, I was in corporate at the time. The question to myself was, are you doing what you love? And if not, how do you start making the steps and taking the journey towards going there? And ever since I haven't stopped. Ever since I had that revelation, I haven't stopped. And that's when the 3 pillars came to me: purpose, power, impact. I was like, I am going to intentionally be involved in projects. I'm going to partner with brands and campaigns that speak to purpose, power, impact. And if they don't, Mavhungu, let me tell you, I have no shame in saying no to a band.
Because you can just find yourself running after everything. Things that are contradictory to your beliefs, but you just keep running.
Correct.
What is your definition of success?
There's so many. You know, one of the ones I love is it's a popular one of liking what you do, how you do it, where you do it. And success for me is peace. Success is being able to wake up and you're like, am I at peace with self? Am I at peace with those around me? Am I at peace with where I'm at in my journey? Am I at peace with where I'm going? Am I at peace with how I treat those around me? That is success, because once those things align, the good things follow.
They do.
They follow. When you are aligned and you're at peace with, there's a yes for me and there's a no for me. Just consistently seeking peace for me has brought me success.
I think I understand where you're coming from, because when right now, the way I do things, I feel like at this point in my life, I'm in the most perfect alignment.
Yes.
Like I receive an impulse of what to do next. I'm not even stressing about a lot of things.
Nope.
I do my next and I do them so well and enjoy them. I'm after feeling, not so much of the
tangible thing, because
yes.
the tangible thing will follow where you're at.
Yes.
So again, if you are, and it's not to say, let me
it's not to say
I don't like nice things.
No, it's not driving.
It's not the driving force.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, because I'm at peace, I know good things will follow me.
But do you ever feel like you're sabotaging your success?
In what ways?
Like when you're doing things and maybe by certain habits that you have, you just find yourself, who do you let yourself down again? There we go again, your big mouth.
I don't think where I'm at right now, but definitely in the past, you know, when you're still going through that journey of learning and unlearning, that journey of figuring yourself out. You make mistakes and you're allowed to. Even now, I'm allowed to make mistakes. But it is about how I learn from that mistake and how quickly. Because Mavhungu, we don't have time.
And you know what? Whether you're taking 10 years to heal, it's not going to wait for you.
It won't.
Will keep moving.
It will keep moving. It absolutely will. So I think in the past, yes, I used to, one of the ways I used to sabotage myself is that I didn't think highly of myself. I didn't think highly of my talent. Because this fine balance of humility and arrogance would play a lot on my conscience. You know, I never wanted to come across as I knew it all, I'm better than everybody. But by doing that, I downplayed how good I am. I downplayed how amazing I am. I downplayed so many things about myself, not only in my career, but in self, in relationships, in friendships. I dimmed my light. And when it got to the point of like, man, you're doing this wrong.
Isn't it part of your character? You are such like, I wish I could live for you sometimes. You're too soft for life. Like, you're too genuine. Like, unalele rato, a very pure kind of love.
Wow, thank you.
Don't you think that's one of the things that can sabotage things like in relationships, like social things, not probably work?
I hear that, and it's one of those things where you have a good character and a good attribute that you need to be careful about.
Yes.
So it's be loving, but don't be stupid about it. You know, discernment. It's having a good heart with discernment.
When you don't ever see yourself doing certain things to other people,
Yeah.
you don't think they can ever do it to you. As
And
a
you
person.
don't. And
You don't,
I genuinely see the good in everyone. Like
no, you can narrate a story. For me, what you just said, I'm going to take exactly what you said. But somebody will be reading it between the lines like, I didn't hear a word. For me, I heard what she just said.
Yeah.
I didn't read the undertone. Don't even bother.
This
Tell me
is
straight up.
it's like that. So you're right. They are, you know, the whole almost like a meekness, a goodness that you let people take advantage of you. But trust me, I'm not that girl anymore.
Thank
like
you, Jesus.
my
I can trust them by myself.
no, like my no is a no. I've learned about boundaries. I've learned that it's okay to say no to someone, and even if you can, if that makes sense. So one of the biggest things that comes up in conversation will be around money, and somebody asking you to help them in some way, and then it's but you said you didn't have money, but I saw you went overseas, and it's like, yes, but I saved up for that. But
Yeah, like
I used to struggle with that.
Is it?
I used to struggle
hell, not
with
me.
that.
No.
Mavhungu, you've
If I
always
don't
been
want,
the
I don't
fabulous one.
I don't want, I don't want.
And that's it, you know. That thing of knowing when to put yourself first and knowing that it's okay.
It is okay.
It's taken a lot of, like I said, self-work. You know, it's taken a lot of going to therapy. My coach recently, I had emotional and resilience coaching sessions, and he said to me, "Are you helping people or are you rescuing them?" Yeah, that hit me hard. That was a hard conversation.
Like,
but
yeah,
it
I
is,
find myself
you know, but it is that consistent facing yourself. And I think so many of us are so afraid of that, whether it's the therapy, a coach, or just an outside person sitting down and having a conversation, and they kind of like say, this thing about you is actually not so great. We're afraid of going to those places because it's such a dark place to go. To go to that place where somebody is asking you, which parent did you crave love from the most? Because it influences and informs how you are as a grown-up now. That's a difficult journey to walk. But I've gotten to a place in my life where I'm not afraid to go to those places because I know that it will be dark for that moment, but the
there's so
light
much
that I'm going to
healing
get
yes,
out of
true.
that, the healing I'm going to get out of that is going to make me a better person for myself. And when I'm better, I can be better for those around me, and so on and so forth. So I've come a long way. Trust me. You will phone me and you'll ask me for something. Mavhungu, my no will be my no, and it will be done.
And it's fine.
And I won't be worried about what you think of me.
Okay, next. I'm like, okay, next. I'll go to the next person. And you know, for me, because I'm in corporate, even when I've overstayed my visit in the organization, nobody sees but myself.
Yeah.
How do you know when you've overstayed, and how do you deal with that?
When you're no longer enjoying it. Like, you know, life has challenges. Corporate world has challenges. I knew it was time for me to leave my corporate job when it no longer fulfilled me. It no longer brought me the joy and the excitement that I wanted to go to work. Even there's a business that I was a part of, and I knew it was time to leave that when my business partner would call and I'd have almost like an anxiety attack. Like I'd just be like, what does this person want now? What have I not done now? What have I messed up now? When you
Like
start
it's constant
feeling
negative feeling all the time.
when you start feeling things that piece that I was telling you about why is success peace to me? Why do I define success as peace? Is because of that.
Yes.
Because that means I am not on equal grounding. Something is off. And when you start feeling that nagging thing, that's when you know that it's time to move. And moving doesn't mean you have to do it immediately.
No.
It's about, hey, something is happening here. Hey. And you start being awakened and attuned to it, and you start moving differently. Eventually, you'll find yourself out.
But did you find that moving from corporate, were you just fortunate enough that you had maybe money somewhere for you to allow yourself to make those transitions, or you also had to save up while preparing for that transition?
You have to make the smart decision. You know, a lot of us also like to make a decision from the emotional side to be like, I'll be fine.
I'm
no,
tired.
honey,
You're
you
not gonna
won't.
be fine.
Because here's the truth,
gonna
right?
be hard
You've
for
got
you.
bills to pay. You've got a bond, you've got a car, you've got this. So there was a smart planning that I had to do. I'd given myself like a 6-month runway, 5-6 month runway with the savings that I had to be like, okay, you're about to leave now and you know that where you're going. Because when I left corporate, it was to fully pursue broadcast full time. And you must understand, as a freelancer, it means that there are days you're going to eat and there are days that you're not. Because if you're not on a regular show, you're not being booked all the time, you know? So it's that irregular income that comes through. It also meant I had to make smarter decisions about my money, to be like, okay, Sissy, just because you've made 500 Rand this month and next month you're going to make 5,000 Rand, remember the inconsistency of your income. So be smarter. And I got my fingers burnt. The reason I was able to do better with money is because I know what it's like to be without. I know what it's like.
What is without for you?
I know what it's like to go to the ATM and you're drawing your last 100 Rand.
Well, maybe it's the kind of lie we'll leave
every day. Where you're even going to throw and you're like, is there even money in there? And then you get in there in somebody's page and you're like, oh, thank goodness, I didn't even expect this money now. I know that feeling. Like, I know what ground zero feels like. And that's why I move different.
Tell me,
I'm learning.
When you're at that point of ground zero in the industry that you are in, because I think where we are, ground zero is very normal.
Where nobody knows you.
You can just knock everyone out. How does it affect you when you're seeing your peers? They're getting these big gigs and it's like everything is at a standstill for you.
It was debilitating. I went through that. I remember it was varsity, my third year. So let's see, if I started varsity 06, 07, around about 08, 09. It was after I'd left UTV, which was 2008. 2009, 2010 were very tough times because I was not getting any gigs because it was like but you still got that UTV thing about you. Sounds really you know.
Girl like me.
Yeah, you know, and like you said, there were girls that were getting the gigs, they were getting the endorsements and whatnot. And I believe I went through a slight depression at that point where I really just, you know, when you've been an overachiever all your life. I did well at school. I was brilliant at school. I was on UTV. I was making money. You know what I mean? Like I was going.
You had never experienced failure.
I hadn't.
Maybe that's a problem when you are excelling from a very young age.
Correct. Correct. And in every sphere.
Yes, you're unable to.
You're good on television. Your marks. You're an A student.
True.
You've got distinctions. You know what I mean?
Everything
about you. And then you hit this rock bottom, and you're like, whoa. What is happening? This is so unfamiliar to me. To the point where, Mavhungu, I had an apartment after I left varsity that I had to move out of a year later because I couldn't afford it. I had to go and live with my uncle. After that, I moved in with my brother. Those were the worst times, but they have really prepared me and put me in better state to where I'm at now, where I truly do work hard for everything that I have. I'm smarter about my money. I'm smart about my decisions, but I'm also more grateful for the things that I have. And I think
it makes you much more relatable because, when you've never gone through certain things, you think people are lazy or you don't know how to plan.
True.
But once you've lost control at some point, because of things that are outside of your control, you're able to understand that it's not about laziness. There are a lot of factors.
And that was the big lesson, the letting go of the control. Because, again, like you said, you're a go. You're an achiever. You get this. Everything's been here. Now you've been hit by these external circumstances that are like, I don't know what this is like. And that's when I truly learned to surrender. That's when my spiritual base really grew.
True.
Because at that point, I had nowhere else to turn, you know, and that shaped me and chiseled me into, like you said, this woman who is relatable. She's authentic. She owns her story. She owns her journey. She's not ashamed to say she stumbled, and she moves with a grace and an empathy that had she not gone through those things, she probably wouldn't.
Talking about grace, empathy, what are the things that you love most about yourself? Except your smile.
Besides my smile and my freckles and, you know. I love my heart. I have a really good heart. I'm giving. And I like to see people win, especially those that are in my life and around my life. Like it gives me so much joy and so much purpose to just be able to give you the ability to help yourself. And it's been understanding that difference between helping and rescuing, because for a part of my life I was a rescuer for many, and many knew that and they took advantage of that.
Yes.
And I had to distinguish between the two. So I love my heart. I get that from my mom, I think.
Oh, another sheep of
She has a pure heart, man. Such a good heart.
I've never seen your mom angry ever. I don't even know if she knows how to. Yeah. And then what I've noticed as well is that there seemed to be a dark cloud of depression, anxiety amongst our peers. What do you think the human race in general is suffering from?
I think we're going through an awakening. And I say it with a smile because it excites me. It excites me that the world said, pause, stop. You guys are doing it all wrong.
Yes.
You know when somebody literally just carries you and holds you by the legs and they're dusting everything out of you. And in everything that we had to just lose and be still for a moment, we had to ask ourselves, who am I without all these things?
True. Because actually they weren't counting in this whole period.
No, they weren't. When you couldn't go out with your friends, when you couldn't drink as much as you wanted to, when you couldn't be seen traveling, when you couldn't be wearing outfit of the day every day.
In fact,
who are you?
At the basis of our choices in terms of our partners.
Correct.
Now you suddenly find yourself with this person, hey,
24/7.
It's like
24/7.
Really, what really informed my choice of choosing this person?
Correct.
Because the cars are parked, the holidays can be gone to.
Yes.
You can't do anything.
Everything that you used to sugarcoat, everything that you used to kind of like glaze through the pain and to fill the pain and to fill the doubt and to fill you. Everything was taken away and you really had to have a reckoning with yourself. And so I think what we're going through, the reason mental health is so prevalent and we are so much more open about talking about it is because we really all had to just sit in front of a mirror in our silence.
Yeah.
Couldn't go anywhere, and you had to have tough conversations with yourself. And those that use that opportunity to, like I say, go to those dark places and heal. Because you have to do the work, Mavhungu. You're not just going to say, okay, this hurt me when I was young. Oh, well, I'm just going to move on. Because it will keep coming back in different shapes, in different forms, in different voices. So you really had to go inside and do the work and say, you know what? I am not my past. I am not my mistakes. They have shaped who I am.
True.
I need to face it, own it. And in instances, you have to take accountability because there are places and decisions that you made that you got yourself into. Right? And once you did that, then the healing can begin.
Well, we have 30 seconds.
Okay.
The law says, ask and it is given.
Yes.
Why are people not receiving?
Some people are not ready to. Your ground is not fertile for what is meant to be sent your way to come. By that, I mean, you haven't done the work. So if the blessing is going to fall upon unsturdy ground, should the blessing come to you right now?
Even if it does, you probably won't even
You won't notice it. You won't even notice it
Yeah.
because it's not going to come in the shape and form that you think. And so do the work. It's almost like when you're preparing orima, like when you're farming and you need to toil the soil and you need to remove the weeds. Do all of that. Only then can you plant the seeds. Only then can you water it. And only then can you then wait for your season in order to enjoy the fruits. But you want to plant the seed in soil that is not fertile, that hasn't been cleared up. What do you think is going to happen?
True.
I think that's why people aren't receiving.
I want a word for each of this. We're out of time.
Okay.
Hulisani is?
Purpose, power, impact.
God is?
Love.
We are?
Worthy of healing and great things.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show.
I did. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Well, I hope you guys at home enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.